Okay, in this session we're going to talk about creating a new song slide set. So this is a start from scratch situation. We're going to start by powering up PowerPoint. Just open it up and I'm going to maximize the screen. So we're set up with a more squarish view here, slide setup. We want to make it the more rectangular version of the actual slide screen at church. So let's just quickly get rid of these two text boxes here. You click right here, right at the edge, and see how it kind of makes that band more solid. And when it's that way, you can just hit your delete key from the keyboard and it will disappear. Try that one more time. Left click on there and it's solid. We hit the delete key and it disappears. Likewise for this one, we left click on there. So it's solid on the outside, no blinking cursor on the inside. Once again, left click the mouse right at the edge, and then you hit your delete key and it goes away. Now we've got a completely blank surface to work on. So we need to get this to the correct, more rectangular size. So we go to up here on the menu to Design, and then we just go over to Page Setup. And we come down here and we've got a drop down box for some selections, and we're going to go 16 by 9 on screen show, and this is right, of course, and we're just going to say OK. So there you go. It changed the format of our slide layout to replicate what our screen looks like. So the next step is to put some sort of a background, because people need to have a background to help two things. One, the background image will help complement the theme of the song, as well as give the words something to pop out on. Just using a white background with black letters is kind of hard on the eyes. So let's go ahead and see how we do that. One of the ways, or the way that I like best, is to pick a image. It could be something that you've downloaded, an image that I've already got in our backgrounds folder that's in the box setup. It could be something that's just more of a color graded thing. It could be an actual image of something that ties into the theme. So this is, we're going to put together a quick Christmas theme slide set for the song Away in a Manger. So let's do this. I'm going to right click, and you see I'm going to drop down to Format Background. So I'm going to left click on that. Now I've got a choice of things to do. I can fill in with the solid color, and I can pick the color here by left clicking there. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a picture. So I click Picture, and by default it throws in this kind of a background here, textured background. I'm going to pick a file, and I'm going to go into our backgrounds under box. Now actually all it shows up there because I've been in there before, and here we are. We're in Box Sync Backgrounds folder. So since, as I say, we're going to do a Away in a Manger, a Christmas theme, I'm just going to scroll down and see what I've got. And there's right after this, these are in alphabetical order. So I'm just looking for my Christmas slides. Here we go. Away in a Manger. Look at that. There's a Christmas manger. It's a nice medium to dark blue background. White lettering for the song words will pop out nicely against that. So it's left click on that and say Insert. And there we go. I'm going to left click and hold this, left click and hold it down, and that will allow me to kind of drag this off to the edge a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so a couple things to notice. The The manger is right to the edge, which is maybe not a bad thing. We've got this little bit of repeating type of something going on here at the bottom of the image. So we may be able to eliminate that. Now look here, it says it's offset. -3 on the left and -3 on the right, and the bottom and the top are right on the money. What this allows you to do, by clicking these things, it moves the image left and right, up and down, maybe stretches it out a little bit in either of those directions to allow you maybe to get a little better formatting. So let's go over, this is the right side. Let's see if we can scooch this in just a tiny bit. Since it says right -3, that means I want to see if I can bring it, what happens if I bring it back to 0. So I'm just going to click up here. Now it's 2. Oh, look, it did move in a little bit. Let's go -1, see. There. Okay, so apparently when it brought this image in, the image is larger, slightly larger than the format of the screen itself. So that allowed me, by moving this from -3 to -1, it actually brought it in a little bit. So there's probably a little bit more blue out here yet that I don't need. Now I want to try that same technique and get rid of this, a little bit of this at the bottom. So let's go to the bottom setting here. Let's see what happens if I go down -1. Ah, it moved it down, see? Now that's kind of tolerable. Let me go one more to -2. There. So I don't mind having a little bit of black edge right down there, because that's going to be right at the bottom of the screen. That won't bother me a bit. So now I'm going to close this. So I'm satisfied with that layout. This is nice. This is right in the theme of my song, Away in a Manger. I've got a lot of blue area up here for the text of the words. So obviously the song is not just one slide long. We're going to have to make some more of these. So let's right click on this one over here and duplicate the slide. There's 2 of them. Right click, duplicate the slide. Right click, duplicate the slide. So that'll give you a few to work with, and you can add more blank slides as you go along, but this will just right click, duplicate again, and you can get a bunch of slides in there just to get you started. Alright, let's go back up to the first one right here. So now we've got our background started. We know we're going to be putting in the words to Away in a Manger. Let's go ahead and start with our title slide. So it's going to be Away in a Manger. We're going to put it right here. Let's insert, come up to our top menu, insert. We're going to insert a text box. So when you click that, when you come back down in here, and by left clicking, you start to draw a box. There we go. And I just drag it over a little bit and let it go. And that creates a box. So I can type Away in a Manger. Now, a couple things we notice. 1, the letters are black. 2, the letters are small. So we need to change both of those. So we can click in here and highlight that by left clicking, holding down and dragging all the way across. So we can make that bigger by come up here to the size, let's just pick a bigger size, just slide down there. See, the farther down I go, the bigger it makes the lettering. That's pretty good. 54, that's probably pretty good. Now the other thing we can do is we can click and hold, left click and hold, drag this out to the edge that way. And let's do the same thing here. Click and hold that little center dot square there. Drag that out to the edge. Okay. Now, and we could also bring this down a little bit if we wanted to, I'm just getting it more centered. But it's still off to the left. Let's use this thing. This is left, center, right, and spread it all out. We're going to just center everything. So I come down here to the edge, top edge, left click, and that tells it I'm going to work with this whole box. I'm going to come up here and center it. Boom. It's centered now. I can also change the color of the text that way in the whole box. Once again, click here to let it know that's where I'm working. This is the text color. Font color, see? Drop down. I want it to be white to pop out. There, see how fast it changed it? Immediately. Another thing we do to make the text pop off the screen is add a shadow effect to it. Once again, we're still working in the box. Left click on that S, text shadow. Watch what happens to the text when I left click on that. You don't really see it so much there, but it does give it a little bit of a pop, a little bit of depth. Okay. You can also change the font from this Calibri to maybe Arial, which is a nice plain font, very distinct, easy to read. So let's go ahead and just change it to Arial. There, that looks pretty good. Now we need a couple verses in here. All right, so where's all the words to away in a manger? We can type them in if we want to, or you can go right to the internet. We'll pop up Google, and we'll type in away in a manger lyrics. See, that shows right there, away in a manger lyrics. Just left click on that, and here we go. Here's most of the lyrics. I could click here for more of the lyrics, but for the purposes here, we're just going to pull in one or two verses. All right, so here's away in a manger, no crib for his bed, the little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. That's our first verse. So I'm going to just copy and paste this. So to do that, once again, left click, and you can just slide your mouse down, and so the whole verse is highlighted. Release it. Release your left click. Bring your cursor back in here, right click, and then left click on copy. Jump back into our PowerPoint right here. Come back onto now this is our first verse, so I'm going to click on the second slide. We're going to work over here. Now I can just do a right click and a paste. It will put a text square already in there for me with the verse. Alright, so now I've got it all in there. I can change a few things once again to make it line up the way I want. So it's left click on that. You see it changed from a dotted line to this solid line. That means I can work with this whole box at the same time. So I'm going to come up here, change the font color to white. There. I'm going to add my shadow. There. I'm going to change the text from Calibri to Arial. There. And now I'm going to make it bigger. I like to make song fonts 32 to 36 in there somewhere. You can see it changing as you move your cursor down to the different sizes. So for this one, let's try to see if we can get away with 36. So let's select 36. You say, well, it doesn't quite fit very well. Well, we can fix that this way. Left click and hold on that edge and just drag it where you want to. So we said we're going to put our text up in this area here. So this is the only line that's stretching out to the second line. So let's come over here. We're just going to make our text box bigger by left clicking right here. Left click and hold. And slide it to the right, and it's just expanding that box, you see. And I can, just for a point of reference, I can bring it right over to the center of the manger, edge of the star. So that looks pretty good right there. Maybe even we can bring it down just a little bit. So I come up here, left click and hold it, and just while I'm holding, slide it down a little bit. There. That's good placement. All right. So let's get another verse put in here. So let's go back to our internet. Come on, there we are. Here's our second verse. So we're just going to do the same thing. left click, hold down, highlight the whole thing, right click somewhere in the text, left click on copy, come back to our PowerPoint. Now we're going to do the same thing. Select the second slide, come up in here, right click, and paste. Now we've got to format this again. So once again, left click on the edge. You see it goes from dotted line to solid. That means I can work on this whole thing at once. Click on here to change the color to white. Click here to make it shadow effect. Drop down to Arial. And once again, go down to our font size that we were using, which I think was 36, wasn't it? We can go up here and take a look at that. Yes, 36. All right, now go back to here. Now, this is way off. So we want to click and hold and drag this guy up to where the other one is. And once again, we have that same issue, a little bit too much text on that line. So we just, like we did before, slide over here, left click and hold, and just, we're going to drag it out, as you recall, to the right the middle of the manger. Let it go. There we go. So, how well do they line up? Well, they're a little bit off. See how that the second screen is just a little bit off? So we can kind of figure out a good way to get these lined up. So I want to drag this down so that it lines up good. Left click in there, click and hold, slide down a little bit, slide it over a little bit, and see how it lines up. Go back to the first. Oop. Okay, I'm pretty close. I'm just a little bit low. So just make that minor adjustment again. Check it. Ah, looks like I'm right on the money now. Okay. All right, so now we know we've got 2 slides. Let's just put one more in there. We also could have a reference point here. You see that little star right there? It's right behind the T. It's hidden right behind the A. So if we get the first letter of the text right up around there, we know we're going to be in good shape. All right, one more. Let's go back to our third verse from our internet. The cattle are lowing. Here we go. Left click, hold down. Drag it to highlight the whole thing. Right click inside there. Copy. Go back to our PowerPoint. Go down to our third slide. Right click. Paste. Dotted line or across here. Left click on the edge. Go solid. That means we can work with all the text. Change the color. Make it shadow. Change the font. Arial. Change the size. Now, let's go ahead and see that star? That's our kind of our pointer star. Let's get that T up alongside there. Maybe a little higher, as I recall from the other one. Let's scooch over. I think that's right about where the other one is. And so then we want to drag this again over this way. So left click, hold down, slide to the right. Okay. So we've got so now let's click through them. And we can check this one. Cattle lowering, how's that line up to the one before? Oh, look at that. We're right on the money. The word "the" doesn't even change. So this is lined up perfectly. So once again, first slide, away in a manger. Look at that. So the reason to have them so well lined up is that when you go from one slide to the next while singing the song, the words are in the same place, in the center or wherever you've got them placed in the screen, and the congregation's eyes aren't jumping all over the screen trying to follow the words. So let's just say this was the last verse that we were looking in. The things left to do are to put our license number in the bottom corner. I usually put it in the bottom right-hand corner, but I don't want to put it on the cow. So we'll just put it. We would put it over on this side. We also want to make sure that instead of a abrupt change from slide to slide to slide, we want to make a crossfade more gradual. So the way to do that is left click on your first one, go down to the last one, hold down the shift key on the keyboard, and then left click on the mouse. Now they're all highlighted. So they're all, whatever we do is going to affect all of them. So finally we're going to come up to animations. And you see this indicates that there's no animated transition at all. It just goes boom, slide, boom, next slide, next slide. We're going to put this one here, this crossfade. See, it kind of gives you the look at what it does. A little quick crossfade. So we're going to put that on there, and that's the transition. So the background never changes, but the words of the song will just crossfade into one another, and I always leave it on a fast transition. And I always leave it on mouse click. Okay, so now let's say we had our license number plugged in there. We've got our new song, Away in a Manger. What do we do with it? We're going to save it in our song set, our folder under Box, so that when we start to build this Christmas worship service, we can just pull in Away in a Manger. It's already done. Now, understand that this may not be exactly as the worship band will perform it or lead us in it, I should say. It may need to be changed a little bit. Maybe some words might need to be changed because we're using one version online. Maybe it'll be a slightly different version that we're using. So you can just go in there and type over and change a couple of words. But let's go ahead and do what we started out to do, which was a file. I'm going to save this. Since it's the first time we're doing it, when you click that save, it says, oh, let's do that again, we'll cancel. It's the first time you're working on it, so it doesn't know anything to do with it. It's got no name or nothing. It just says it's a presentation. So you can go here, or you can do here, file, save, or save as, or something like that. It'll get you to the same place. So we're going to say we're going to save it, or save as. Let's do save, since it's the first time we're working on it. It's going to ask us what we want to name it. So we're going to name it Away in a Manger. Away in a Manger. I'm going to hit the delete key just to take out the extra words and letters and numbers right there, leaving the PPTX, the PowerPoint X extension. Now, where am I going to save it? Well, we got to tell it where we want to put it. We're going to save it. When I want to put it in Documents, I want to put it in our Box folder. So where is that? Well, we got to find that guy. So in this case, I'm going to look for it here and here, and I'm just drilling down till I find my Box folder. There it is. So this is what? This is a new hymn and song, so I'm going to put it in here. And it's going to show up. Let's see, it should show up right here after we're done. So we're going to save it. There it is. And because of the nature of Box, what it is doing now, it's uploading to every computer that has our church worship Box synchronization working on. And that's all there is to it. So I can close this. I can close my internet. And let's take a quick look in Box. Double click to open it up. And you see that, remember, I said if this is yellow, it's in the process of syncing. If it's blue, it should already be synced up. So we can click on Hymns and Songs, and we can drag and down to the Away in a Manger. There it is. So it's on obviously it's on this computer because that's where I saved it, on the one I'm working at home, but it's also on the church's computer and any other computer that has the Box program with a church account and all these elements to the worship service. Okay, that's it. All right.